Cato, you are a fantasy author, and in your hands you have your latest book.
Yes, that's correct.
Tell me about your story. What is it about?
This story is about 4 students, and they are in a school of magic and fighting skills to learn magic and fighting. And their school is attacked by their neighboring country because the neighboring country says their country they're living in has a crystal, a magical crystal that will give them amazing powers. And with those powers, they will finally be able to defeat their enemy. But sadly, this crystal has been lost. So the lost crystal is a very good name for this book. The 4 students you will follow in all their perspectives. So every chapter has a different perspective from a different student. And they are trying to find out what happened to the crystal and what happened to the war and try to stop the war.
How did you get started as an author? What made you want to write fantasy?
When I was a teenager, I wrote a lot of stories with a friend of mine. Just online, and she had a few characters she wrote the perspective from, and I had a few characters I wrote the perspective from. And that's actually where it all started, and that's actually this book, just a bit of an...
So that's been actually brewing for years.
Yes, I think it started in 2012, probably.
Wow.
So 13 years ago, 10 years ago when this book came out.
But you told me that this is actually not your first book.
Oh, that's correct.
You've written another book.
Yeah, that's correct.
And that was a standalone book?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, that's more historical fantasy, while this is more high fantasy.
Now, you were on a roll with this book, and you were planning on writing the sequel and maybe another one. I don't know, do you already have an idea how many books you want to write?
Oh yeah, there's 3 books, and I've written 1.5 of them. So 2.5 of this.
But at one point, everything came to a screeching halt.
Yeah.
And that has to do with, as you can see here, you're in a wheelchair right now.
That's correct.
Your hands have like special support.
Yes.
For your fingers, and that actually kind of stopped you from writing. What happened?
I was born with a connective tissue disorder that got worse in 2018. But between 2018 and 2022, I was fairly okay. Just regular chronic pain, fatigue, the usual sort of. But from 2022 on, I got worse and worse. And we finally figured out it's a combination of CCI and ME. So I have ME, myalgic encephalomyelitis, I think.
Right.
Which means I'm easily fatigued, and exercise and exertion is very heavy on me. So I get very sick from exertion.
Yes.
And on top of that, or maybe due to that, I have CCI, which is an instability in my vertebrae in my neck. They push down on my nerves, and that affects things as my heart rate, blood pressure, but also my leg function and my speech.
That must be so incredibly frustrating and hard.
Yes.
At your age, when you're like, you have so many plans, you want to write so many stories.
Absolutely.
And then you cannot find the energy to do it.
Yeah, that was very hard. It's still very hard. I'm sort of used to it now. But it has been very hard, and it's still difficult to me.
What helped you cope with that situation?
Trying to find hobbies I was still able to do to some extent. I play some D&D where I'm able to lay down and tell a story with my players, which is less energy intensive than using a computer and sitting up and having to write. I try to watch some series. I try to read. It's just a different life that I've built.
And there's always this wish, like, I want to go back to writing. I want to continue
very
this story.
Much. Yeah.
But there's a glimmer of hope.
Absolutely, maybe more than a glimmer.
Tell me about it.
In October of last year, I went to Barcelona to a doctor who specialized in the CCI, and he diagnosed me with instability in my neck. And he told me on top of that instability, there's possibly a cure, which is a surgery that fuses my vertebrae together. Which means there's no more pressure on my nerves, which means I might possibly get a ton of energy back. But there's one big but, and that's that the fusion, the surgery is very, very expensive, and the healthcare insurance in the Netherlands refuses to pay for it. So that's why I've set up a crowdfunding in the hopes that maybe with a lot of people together, I might be able to release that money and get some of my life back.
Now, I know that writing fantasy is a labor of love.
Absolutely.
You don't get rich by writing books.
Absolutely not.
How can people help you realize this dream?
Well, first of all, if you can donate via the GoFundMe link, that would be amazing. But also sharing the link, sharing this story with other people and see if they can donate, that will be amazing.
How much do you need?
I need 75,000 euros. I'm already 10,000 in, so only 65,000 to go.
So you need to find 65 people who want to support you for 1,000 euros.
Yeah, that would be great.
And then you can go back to your life.
Yeah.
You can go back to your story.
Yeah.
You can tell the next chapter and the next book and then on and on.
I can just live instead of just lay on the couch and do nothing. It will be absolutely amazing to have even 20 or 30% of an energy of a healthy person back. That will be a dream.
When I look in your eyes, I see hope. I see certain
Absolutely.
determination.
Yeah, it's only a week online and I have, I think 13 or 14% already down. That's huge. If it continues like this, it's only 10 weeks. That's nothing. That's yeah. I think this is possible. I don't need 1,000 euros per donation. I need 10 or 20 or 50. That's already such a big help.
Anything is helpful.
Absolutely.
And to pass it on, right? To
Yeah,
get other
absolutely.
people, show them this video,
Yeah,
share
get
the
involved.
video,
Yeah.
and help this writer get back to writing.
Absolutely.
I am so rooting for you.
Thank you.
And I really want to come back sometime in the future, in the near future, and make another video where you can thank the people
Oh, absolutely.
who helped you, get back to writing.
Maybe I'll be standing then, just standing up.
That would be awesome.
Absolutely.
You know what? And you know this as a fantasy writer, in your books, you can dream up anything.
Yeah.
But that also helps you to dream about big things in the real world. Because dreams is what makes us move forward, right?
Absolutely. If you don't dream, there's just nothing left.
I am going to root for you, definitely dream with you. And if anyone is watching this, go to your GoFundMe page
Yes.
and help this writer out.
Amazing. Thank you very much in advance.